before I was thinking, what's up, everybody? Me and Justin James, Extreme Couture, Sean Strickland's teammate, and a very talented UFC commentator. And we're going to talk about that press conference because that was bananas. What's up, Justin?
Hey, man, just living the dream over here in Las Vegas, getting ready for a fight myself, but couldn't tell you how excited I am about Sean Strickland fighting Dricus this weekend. It's going to be fucking awesome.
That presser was, it's like, you want to know what I love most about that? I love that I spent my morning digging through all the like, whoa, geez, Sean made everyone so angry. And I was like, I mean, that's what the video that I did was. So I had to really go through Twitter and just see this enormous, collection of whiners. And then because I just think about them having to watch that press conference and realize it's like, you guys lived in this make-believe bubble for 5 years that you're the majority. And now Elon bought Twitter. You don't get to pretend. And here it is, like the proof's in the pudding. Fuck you guys. Everyone loves Strickland. Everyone loves Trump. You guys are the minority. Go fuck yourself. Anyway, what were your thoughts on the press conference?
Yeah, let me tell you what, man. You know what? Nothing Sean does in pressers anymore surprises me. I've got to know this guy over the last couple of years. This guy he is an open book, man. You can ask him anything. He's going to tell you how he feels. I mean, there could be a stranger walking into the gym wearing a shirt that he doesn't like, and Sean will make sure to let that guy know that he doesn't like his shirt. Like, that's just the kind of guy he is. This is not a character, and we have to talk about that. Like, Colby Covington, that is a straight up character. Sean Strickland is Sean Strickland. On the camera, that's how he is. In person, that's how he is. In the gym, when no cameras are on, that's just how he is, man. And man, this guy's selling this fight, and he's doing everything naturally. And I really appreciate that. Unlike like a Colby Covington type who makes this fake persona, Sean Strickland is Sean Strickland, and that's who he is.
Yeah, and you know what I loved about it too is what I love about the entire thing, because I actually do have a lot of respect for Colby's ability to do the character, not necessarily because I think he does the character amazing, but only I respect a competitor setting the table on purpose where everyone's going to hate him and then he has to go into the cage and fight. And I just think that's so impressive that he can steal his mind even in that environment. But in terms of making people love you like that, like I was just texting with my buddy Alex and I'm like, he's a superstar. He's like, the people love him. And I'm like, and the difference between him and Colby is you can't fake real. You can make a character, but no one, like, there's no fake real people. Like everyone can see what Nate Diaz is. Everyone can see exactly what Sean Strickland is. They know this is who he is, and that's why they respond so well to it, I think.
Now, I agree with you 100%, because he can relate to the people. He speaks his mind. Whether you agree with him or disagree with him, which a lot of people do, you got to respect him because he's going on the world platform, explaining his feelings, explaining his past, explaining his traumas to the world. He doesn't need to do that. But he is doing it because it's him. And I think that's what the people love. Love him or hate him, you got to respect him.
Totally. And you want to know what else I noticed about him that I hadn't really thought about? Okay, so let me. I have two thoughts in my head at the same time that I want to try to get out. Okay, so number one was this whole thing that happened where he got upset about what Dricus said in the presser, and he was like, "Don't bring that shit up again." And it was obviously super hypocritical. And I talked about this yesterday because it was like Bisping was saying like, I don't think, like, I wouldn't do that. I don't think you should say he'd stab him, all that stuff. And I'm like, I agree with Bisping. The thing is, though, is like you can't win in an argument talking about Sean like because if you went to Sean with that, you're being a hypocrite. He'd be like, I know. He's like, I am being a hypocrite. 100%. You're 100% right. I did this and then I cried about it. Like, I'm a hypocrite. Like, he's not trying to win anything. He's literally just being 100% who he is all of the time. And okay, that was thought one, but also connected to that thought is the guy has no ego. Like I didn't realize that usually a person who's that loud, you kind of normally like think ego, especially a person who's like, let's fight, I don't see any ego in this guy. You know him better than me. Would you agree with that? Like the ego is kind of disconnected from his whole thing.
Yeah, it's different. I mean, we don't want to mistake ego with confidence. I mean, when we talk about confidence, Sean Strickland is confident. And as I've said before in some shorts, that Sean Strickland outtrains everybody. It's fucking unreal. I was having this, had a little conversation with Josefa this morning, about it is, I have dedicated my life to this sport and I train my ass off day in and day out. But I have other hobbies. I like to go
Yeah.
camping. I like to go fishing. I like to go hunting. I like to go shooting. I like to do other things. Sean doesn't. He doesn't have any other hobbies. I mean, maybe he'll shoot his guns every now and then, but for the most part, this guy loves to train. He loves to compete. He spars every fucking day. You know, and I've had the vets tell me, do not do that. It's too harsh on your health. You're gonna take too much headshot and too much damage. Sean does not give a fuck. He gets in his Philly shell and he walks everybody down the gym, and he talks shit during the rounds too. This guy, he does not have an out of control ego. He's very confident in what he does, and I would be too if I sparred fucking 7 hours a day. You know,
Dude,
this
that
guy
really is nuts, man. Because like I don't know, everybody likes to do rounds if the conditions are good, you're not exhausted. It's like, it's like get like first round, depending on the matchup is always fun, but everybody hits a place where it's like, all right, run another one. Fuck me, dude.
Yeah.
Like the idea of a person who just wants to keep doing it all the time. The other thing about that too is I was thinking about, I always, during the pressers and during all of the buildup, I always am trying to look at the opponent from the other guy's, through his eyes and how he's interpreting what the other guy is and all that stuff. And I'm like, dude, if I was Drickus, I would be like, fuck me, dude, because you partially are thinking, where's this guy's breaking point? And a guy who goes in there and he's like, looks at you mean, and it's like in the back of your mind, you're like, all right, gee, it looks mean, but how long can he keep that mean face on? A guy that literally, there's nothing else he wants to be doing. There's no breaking point because there's no hotel party after for him. There's no, like, he wants to go do, like you said, any other hobby. This is exactly what he wants to be doing as long as it takes. You're never going to break him. You're going to have to knock him out, or you're going to have to strangle him. And you're never going to look across and be like, oh, he's starting to wear down. It's just never going, like, that's super intimidating. Don't you think?
Oh, I agree with you 100%. And again, we're talking a guy that's only been knocked out by one of the best strikers in the world. And I didn't like his game plan going against Pierre, but then he goes and trains with him, learns learns some techniques from him as well. That right hand he knocked down Izzy with, he contributes to that. But let's talk about Sean's grappling and wrestling. This guy's a black belt. When he got his black belt, he threw it in the trash. It doesn't mean anything. His belts hold his pants up. This guy hasn't been taken down. I mean, we talk about, you're going to have to strangle him or knock him out, but can you strangle him? Like this, you got to take this guy down and he's going to be walking you down. Sean is, I've been Extreme Couture since 2009, man. I've seen champions come in and out, and Sean is like nobody I've ever seen before. I admire him from afar. I don't want to get in his crosshairs because there's guys that, let's spar. And he goes with a lightweight, he's going to knock him out. He goes with a welterweight, he's going to knock him out. Like, he's very particular about his partners. But again, he's wrestling with some of the greatest wrestlers in the country right now, some of the greatest grapplers, and he's just mowing them, and they just have nothing for him. So let's not think that Sean can't wrestle and can't grapple, because he definitely can.
Dude, I saw, like there was I can't remember it might've been Countdown or something else, but they had a lot of footage of his early fights, and he was jumping on people's backs and strangling them. And he looks like a different person because he's so young, like that always trips me out, dude. Like, when you see a guy who has a skill set that he, generally speaking, like, people know he has it, but he doesn't use it. And then you see some old footage of them, and you're like, dude, that looked like Charles Oliveira transitioning to the back and strangling right there. And that's like, what do you think? Sean's not training grappling since then? That's like 9 years ago. He's probably 9 years better than he was right there. He just doesn't use it. You know what I mean? Let me turn that into a question. How nasty of a grappler is he, since I'm
going to tell you this. I don't see Sean on his back often, and I know he's going with high-level wrestlers all the time. I'm trying to think of that NCAA Division I wrestler. Like, he fought in Bellator. He fought Yoel Romero. His name's Alex. Dude, I mean, this guy's trying to put a pace on him, putting him on the fence, and he just muscles this guy off. And we're talking about a guy that I watch him put 315 on the bar, and he'll sit there and hit a 90-degree squat for 25 reps. It's fucking insane how good
he
Sean
benches
is, man.
315.
No. The guy, Alex, the wrestler that he trains with
squats
a lot.
315 and just
Dude, he just does it 20, 25 times. Not Sean, Alex.
Jesus.
But when I
Yeah.
see him shoot in, you think, oh, he's going to outmuscle him. And he doesn't. It's just insane to me. Sean's heart, his conditioning is all in the right spot. His strength is in the right spot. He looks more chiseled than he ever has at 170 before. I think going to middleweight was a great eye-opener for him. He's striking with the best in the world. He's wrestling with the best in the world. And his grappling, again, guys, you look at a line right now. If this fight goes to the ground and Sean gets on somebody's back, he definitely can find a choke in there somewhere.
Yeah. Dude, and the other thing too is I feel like actually here atmospheric. This is an incredibly complicated question that I am gonna not. I know myself. I will completely derail the conversation if I start talking about this. It's an excellent question, but Yuri Bezmenov is a 30-minute mouthful. I appreciate the super chat. I promise I will try to remember to come back to it later. But so. The one thing that when you and I first started talking, how, I don't know, a year ago or so or whatever it was. And I can't remember who Strickland was fighting. And I said, I'm like, when I watched Strickland, I said, this is before I really understood that he really does spar a million rounds every day. But I could just tell from footage of him in the gym that he loves sparring. And I'm like, it's like maybe his game, before he demonstrated that his game plan can beat literally anyone in the world. I'm like, maybe his game plan is just like, he's so used to sparring that he doesn't kind of like strategically approach each fight differently or whatever. And now I know that like, that's obviously not necessarily the case, but like with Dricus, he's got this one attack that I saw him do over and over and over in South Africa, which is that standing guillotine. Have you seen that? Like the thing where he traps those guys, like they put their head in a place where they think they're safe, where I think they should be safe. And he's got some trick where he's standing guillotines them. And it's like knowing that Eric is Sean's coach. Like even if Sean hasn't watched 100 hours of tape, I guarantee he's fucking seen that thing and he's dragged Sean in there and he's like, don't put your head right there. You know what I mean? Like how good of a coach is Eric? Fucking stud, right?
Eric is incredible, man. 2 years running coach of the year. I mean, this guy makes you believe in himself. I take a quote from Tommy Boy. This guy can sell a ketchup popsicle to a woman in white gloves. This guy, pulled me aside the other day talking about my upcoming fight, man. Gave me goosebumps. Just he knows what to say, when to say it. Not to mention he's a super athlete himself. Former collegiate football player, transitioned to MMA coach. Man, he has all the tools to be an incredible coach. Now, talking about Sean being coached under Eric, Sean doesn't watch film. Sean is.
That's exactly what I said. That's exactly what I said. I bet Eric's watched that film though.
Eric definitely has. Eric is on point. He's going to be watching film. He's going to be studying his opponent. Sean just wants to fight, dude. Whether it's you, whether it's me, he just wants to get in a cage and fight somebody. And you know what? And that's the thing I respect about Sean is, when I was in the UFC and I'm watching all breakdown. Oh, look at how his feet turn, or look at how this, and we're trying to break down every bit there is. Sean's like, well, I'm going to get in my Philly shell. And I'm going to walk forward, and I'm going to hit you harder than you hit me. And that's Sean's game plan, and it has been time and time again. And when I thought he fought Alex Pereira, I thought he should have had a little bit different game plan because he was wrestling a lot in the camp. But as he says, I want to strike with the best in the world. And although he lost that fight, now he beats Israel Adesanya in a striking bout. He now he's and he says he's going to do the same thing in this fight. So we'll see how this goes.
Yeah, in that in that Pereira fight, aside from the fact that he got clipped with a heavy shot, obviously, but like he looked good up until there. He just, obviously, kind of, he set him up with those body shots, but nonetheless, he was doing very well. He had the same approach, and I don't know. Alex is at 205 now, so I guess he doesn't have to, worry about it. But it's just so cool that he went and traded with Alex after that. Like he's like, I'll just go trade. And I love how he handles the thing with Dricus, where it's like I bet a lot of people who don't have a lot of experience with just man-on-man violence think it's really weird that two guys could get in a fight at an event and then be cool afterwards. But that, to me, that's not weird at all. I really don't think that I don't think that's weird even a little bit. It's like, how do you bond with a person more than going through the same insanely intense situation together, even if you guys are competing against each other? You know what I mean? I've made friends with like every person I've ever competed against in jiu-jitsu.
It's exactly how it is in fighting is, You even know how much animosity you can have leading up to the fight, shit talking, selling tickets. Dude, you're putting all your adrenaline, all your strength, all your mentality into that fight. And once it's over, for the most part, even Carl Dean a couple fights ago, UFC vet Carl Dean, him and I, we trained together, we were friends and this and that, and then he started calling me out of nowhere. There was a lot of animosity, man, and I fucked him up and he fucked me up. And after the fight, I mean, we still shook hands. I don't care for the guy, but I respect him. He's a tough fighter. And I feel that's, and that's how it is 99% of the time, man. Very rarely do I ever have a fight with somebody and then have an altercation with them after. Usually it's, hey, let's go drink some beer. I mean, we just poured our heart and soul into what we're doing in front of thousands of people. I mean, hey, let's have a beer after and, celebrate that at least.
Dude, you guys are partners. That's the whole thing is, and that's the other thing that's really unique about you guys being prize fighters. Like in jiu-jitsu, I've noticed, I just learned about myself that if I am friendly with the guy, I intentionally kind of like am friendly with the guy as we're kind of walking in and all that, because I just do better. I'll compete better than if I'm mad. I just get tight and I burn myself out otherwise. But like for you guys are like actually partners. You're competing against each other. You're trying to take everything from the other guy. But the reason everybody's there is because they paid a ticket to see a good fight. So even though you guys are competing, you guys are partners in delivering on the same thing that people paid to come see. You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely, man. I mean, essentially, we got to sell the fight together. One person can't sell a fight. It takes two fighters to fight. It takes two fighters to sell the fight. It takes one winner to win and one winner to lose, man. That's just the nature of the business, man. And like I said, I mean, there's been guys where I've fought and they come and train with me after. Kyle Prepelic, UFC vet. We fought as an amateur a long time ago. Eric Lozano, he's in BKFC right now. He's come out to Vegas to train. I mean, I have no animosity towards former opponent. Troy Lamson was 7-0, and I ended his 25 fight win streak. Came out and trained with us afterwards, man. There's no animosity. And I mean, if we're talking about we fight and win or lose, and then we want a rematch, and then you're coming out training, that's kind of shady. That's like Carl did. But regardless of that, most of the time, dude, we're really chill for the most part.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of like he's like infiltrated to try to like learn what you guys are working on and shit, and then does it. Like that's snaky. That's
That's why I have the big beef with Carl, because he came and trained with us for 6 months. He hired my head coach as his head coach. We were training partners. He gets kicked out of the gym for doing some stupid shit, which he should have been kicked out of the gym for, and immediately calls me out. It's like, bro, that's fucking bush league. But anyway,
yeah, you're like, I didn't make you fucking do whatever you did.
Yeah, exactly.
With Strickland too, like, and with Drickus, he goes. You saw the press conference, right, where he's like, oh, yeah, let's agree, we're gonna fucking fight to the death. It's like, it's just so great, man. He's a superstar. It's just that simple. Yeah. Like, he's a superstar. He genuinely loves it. Everybody can tell. He pisses off the same people that I think it's funny when they get pissed off. I don't agree with everything he says. I do think he's a complete and fucking hypocrite, but I still think it's funny because I know he's not trying to be consistent. He's not saying that he's like, if I did that, I would expect people to fucking light me up, dude. Because like, it's my job to kind of be like logical and consistent. His brand is like, I don't care. Yeah, like, I'm a hypocrite. I said that, I did that. Yeah, he said the thing yesterday too, where or it was either yesterday or the day before, where he's like, you think I give a fuck about any of this? If all of a sudden every single person that's cheering for me now was like, fuck you, Sean. He's like, I don't care. I would still be doing the same thing. I would just go to the gym, fight. I would come here. I would fight. It makes no difference to me,
Yeah. And again, just to go back to how he is, that's genuine, man. It really depends on what kind of mood he wakes up. He wakes up in a good mood, you might get a good version of him. He wake up in a bad mood, you might get a totally different version of him, but it's authentic, it's real, and he's the real champ, and he's the people's champ right now as well.
That was pretty funny when he went at Shevchenko over Twitter, and he, he's talking about like women's MMA and all that shit. And then he went in and trained, and when he came out, he's like, I'm sorry, Valentina. I was in a bad mood. It's just so funny. If that was anyone else, I would have thought that's a gimmick. I'm like, that is probably, I'm not even probably, I guarantee that is literally exactly what happened. He's in a bad mood. Fuck women's MMA. Fuck you, Valentina. You're garbage, whatever. Spars comes out. He's like, I'm sorry. Let's go grab a beer.
Mm-hmm. It's just how he is, man. And to contribute to that fact is, I went into training in a bad mood and bitched at some people, go get my ass whipped in sparring or something, and have that turnaround. But for him to do it on a public platform is just so much bigger and such a big platform. I mean, he has hundreds and hundreds of thousands of followers that listen to him, that watch him. And so, like I said, I might have it in my head that I'm mad at somebody, but I'm not going to go on my own platform and then apologize after. And again, that's just Sean being Sean, man. Nothing you can't respect more than just being authentic.
Are there any guys at the, on the team that, without naming names, like, are there any guys that like he just straight up does not get along with, like where they don't get along with each other? Or do some people, I mean, obviously I'm not talking like, you don't have to be friends with everybody, but are there people where they have like an actual issue and they're on, they're at XC also?
No, honestly, dude, XC it's a really, really I mean, we get in there and we beat the fuck out of each other every day. But at the end of the
Of course.
day, Randy Couture, always said, since I've been there since 2009, there used to be a sign above the door. It's check your ego at the door, get out. And whether you're Sean Strickland, whether you're Justin James, whether you're Hazufa, whether you're Jesse on fire, like you show up to the gym, everyone's equal, man. Nobody's better than anybody. Sean, even with how outspoken he is, he's become one of the leaders in the gym right now. And, giving pep talks at the end of practice on hard work and being there for each other. And, one thing that I admire about Sean the most is, and something that I've even learned from is, after he won that championship, he took one day off training. And he came and I was there training and he comes in, he's like, hey, I'm taking today off. I'm a little sore, but tomorrow we have this guy, this guy, this guy. These guys are getting ready for fights. I need to be there for them. They were there for me on this uprise to being a champion. And now I need to be there for him. So not only is he just a crazy guy, like he's a loyal teammate. He's willing to learn. Like there's been techniques where he cornered me. I think I was telling you and Jose for the other day. Like I'm going against this up and coming guy. He's 7-1 in the UFC. His name's Daniel, Spanish dude. And he is fucking me up. He's walking me down, hit me with knees, elbows, just fucking me up. In between rounds, Sean comes over to me. He's like, Justin, you need to be a fucking man and fight this guy. And I look at him, I was like, oh shit, I know how to do that. And I'm not saying I won the next round, but I got after him. I started landing cleaner shots, pushing him back. And sometimes that's all you need, man. Sean is not just an incredible fighter. He's an incredible athlete. He's an incredible teammate. He's an incredible captain. And to me, he's one of my role models, as crazy as that might sound.
That doesn't sound crazy to me at all. I mean, it's like, a role model is a person that sets an example that you want to model yourself after, and a guy whose entire life is dedicated to a single craft, regardless of what he says, does, acts. He lives it every single day. Like you said, he took one day off after he won the title. Like, how many people would not take a vacation or like go do something, like reward yourself with something? That's what I'm saying. It's like, I can see that when he says his reward is to train, he really means it. And it seems like his body holds up pretty good too. Like I have a couple buddies who are like that, where the juice, well, I lost you. I lost your camera. Are you still there? Oh, he's gone. Well, I'll tell you guys. I have a couple buddies where like the pain is the juice for these guys. And the guys who do stuff like I have this buddy, what's up, dude? I was just saying, like I have friends where like the pain is the juice, like the squeeze is what it is for him. And like I have this buddy who he's a straight up just like professional tech guy. I mean, he's a ridiculous athlete, he's a jiu-jitsu guy, but like he's like a guy who should have 100% sure instead of going to college, he should have gone into the SEALs or whatever, like some kind of special forces thing, because he genuinely, that's just what he was built to do. And he's one of these guys that goes on these go ruck things voluntarily, where they fucking pack this, these back, it's like, like a 90-mile fucking thing. It's nuts. I don't understand how anybody does it voluntarily. And he always does those. And by the time, you hit like whatever age, their body is just falling apart, dude, because the pain is what it's about for them. And it seems like Sean doesn't seem like a guy whose body's breaking down at all. Like he seems super loose all the time. You can start to like see it when a guy's in his like mid-30s where it's like, and he looks like he's holding up very, very well to me.
Well, there's a couple things. Reason why is, for one, Sean to me is one of the most defensive fighters in the UFC. It's not like he's going in there. You don't see him bloodied up. You don't see his eyes swollen. He's not breaking his hands when he's landing contact. Now we go into our training, and sometimes that can get kind of heated. Here's the thing going with Sean is Sean's going to go at your pace. All right. If you hit him hard, he's going to hit you hard back. So do you really want to get in a firefight with Sean Strickland in the gym? Most people don't. So his body's holding up. And when guys are going for those firefights, he's hurting them and putting them down and or making them miss and making him pay. So he's not taking damage in fights. He's not taking that much damage in training, because honestly, I bet guys, I believe firmly that guys are scared to bang with him. Like when I watch him go, I'm not saying he doesn't go hard, because he does, but there's a lot of guys that are just like, like they're like, fuck, I don't want to hit this guy because he's going to pay me back tenfold.
Totally. And he even said that yesterday, where he was like, I think it was actually at the tail end of the thing I was talking about otherwise, where, or a second ago, where I was saying like, He's like, I'm not even trying to be right. I'm a fucking idiot. He's like, I get hit in the head for a living, and right now I'm the best in the world at getting. Actually, he's like, I'm actually the best in the world at not getting hit in the head. And it's like, yeah,
with Megan
that's
O'Leary,
exactly right.
that was an incredible interview, man. That's
Yeah,
fuck. I watched that was gold. 20 minutes of pure gold.
yeah. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I look at, I love this sport more than anything. And like, I've watched a million fights. I've watched a million fighters. And I of course always try to break down kind of like what would be, if you could build the perfect fighter to kind of go at that style, what is it? And with Strickland, it seems like because he stands straight up and he kind of is here, obviously going at his head is not going to be the way. It's like, you think that someone at some point would have started just tattooing his legs, and it just doesn't work because he's so good with those straight. Actually, let me ask you, why do you think no one is able to successfully attack his legs and make that like a winning game plan? You think it's just because he hits him in the face so well when they try to do that?
Exactly. I think that he's such a great counter fighter, is even when they're landing a good leg kick, he's landing a cross or he's landing a hook. And Sean keeps his technique so tight. He's not, and that's the thing I love about it so much. He reminds me, he's like a striking version of Jake Shields. Jake Shields is one of the best, to me, MMA grapplers in the world. I get to work with him on the weekly. Dude, he'll tell you what he's going to do. He's going to take you down. He's going to get to half guard. He's going to pass. He's going to get to mount. He's going to smother you. He's going to side choke you or armbar you. That's it. Like,
He's a
these are
soul
basic
crusher.
submissions that you've learned, that I've learned since day one. But he's so good at them, he doesn't need to do anything fancy. Sean's the same way. His striking is jab, cross, hook, hook, cross. He's not doing dramatic switch stances. He's not doing big head kicks. Teep kick, lead teep kick, jab, cross, lead teep kick, cross, hook. Like, he has taken the basics and he's perfected them better than anybody else in the UFC. And that's what's keeping him alive and keeping him as the champ. And I feel that he's going to take that basic strategies, just walk Dricus down and finish him within 3.
Yeah, I mean, I personally think that when guys win at the top, at the elite level with the most basic fundamentals, I think that's the most gangster thing ever. Like when Victor Hugo, my jiu-jitsu professor, fought Big Dan in UFC, whatever, the grappling thing that Gordon Ryan are all in. He beat him with a I think it was like a scissor sweep to a scissor sweep to Americana or something, like something that was like, just like, fucking white belts know how to do this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's how he won in that fight. It's just so gangster because he's just so good at the technique that at the elite level, you make it work. I was actually going to ask you too, now that we were talking about the Strickland, like the leg kicks, straight punches, etc. How do you feel about the Gaethje and Max Holloway fight? How would you break that down?
Wow. I mean, what an exciting matchup. We're talking about, to me, Max Holloway is one of the greatest technical strikers in featherweight history, let alone going up to lightweight. Now, when he performed against Poirier, he didn't look as good. And I feel that Poirier was a lot bigger, a lot stronger, faster. Now that he's had time to adjust to the weight, man, I mean, this is a fight that I'd stay away from a betting standpoint, because we know Justin Gaethje has that one-shot knockout power, but who's knocked out Max Holloway?
Nobody.
Nobody has. But he's getting older. Volkanovski put a pace on him. Dustin Poirier put a pace on him. I mean, he gets in these great battles for the fans, but how much can your head really take? And Justin Gaethje, I think, has so much power in his legs and so much power in his hands that I only think he needs to land one on Max. And I mean, for it to go 3 rounds, let alone 5 rounds, and just to not land one punch, I mean, if I was going to favor one side, I'd say Gaethje, just because he's so... He's control. It's controlled aggression, man. He's coming in with bad intention with every punch. Max Holloway is a much more technical striker, a technical boxer, but can he avoid Gaethje's power for 5 rounds?
Totally. I'm going to answer this, and then I want to say something about that too. Choke Dealer,
worries.
what's up, dude? Choke Dealer, that's a fucking great. That's a great name, dude.
I like that. That's pretty badass.
What do you think about the fan getting on stage? If he was from the fruitcake community, that could have went back. Yeah, I know, but he wasn't, and that was awesome, because it's like another feather in the cap of everybody loves Strickland, and you guys can pretend that he's some problematic prick, and that when people say this stuff, oh my God, we're gonna kick him off of ESPN, and it's like, yeah, well, the people love him. He reminds me of someone in this country that wears a red hat and Dana White is best friends with. But anyway, thank you for the super chat. The thing I was gonna say about the Holloway fight too, and the reason why I just thought of it right there is because like my read on that fight, and I've talked about this a little bit on the channel, is just like, I don't usually do like fight breakdowns, kind of not what the channel is, but I mean, I break down fights. I just don't generally do it on the channel. I look at that and it's like, so what has Gaethje been susceptible to historically? And it's like guys that can put really surgical strikes right down the middle. Like if guys can really, especially Max, the reason he's so hard to deal with is because he's so good at stretching his body out. And he does that thing where, like his jab, like he can stretch himself out and the strike is only that long, like where he makes himself long and the strike is only from here to there. And he's got that snap pop on it to make it uncomfortable and then get some guys off, and then come down the middle with the 2. And like, that is the exact kind of style that will give Gaethje problems, except you have to be heavy on your front leg to do that. And Gaethje's going to kick the fuck out of that leg. But no one's ever folded Max to leg kicks either. He's eaten dude, Volkanovski pulverized his leg and he just kept coming. It didn't even look like he limped out of the octagon. And if you go cardio, you got to go cardio to Max. Yep. That is and the thing about that Poirier fight is Max looked great in that Poirier fight early, right? It was Max early and then DP late, right? Like it was, I know it was one or two.
Actually, I thought it was relatively close. From what it was a while ago, so I might be recalling it wrong. But if I remember correctly, I thought Poirier really controlled. It was close, but I never thought Poirier was down in the cards or was in any danger.
One of them won the early rounds and then the other one came back strong in the back 3. I can't remember which is embarrassing given that I'm talking about it, but I know I definitely remember that. That fight is a banger. I remember somebody's face is fucked. The fight was incredible. I definitely agreed with the decision that Dustin won, but man, then that set up that Khabib fight where Khabib strangled DP. But man, it's
let's break this down just for one more second, Jesse.
Yeah, go.
We're talking about Dustin Poirier versus Justin Gaethje. And I really thought Poirier was going to have the edge there because of his precision striking. We're talking about, again, one of the best lightweight boxers. That's why Holloway and him were such a good matchup, because their boxing is some of the best. But all Justin Gaethje had to do was land that one big kick, and it was lights out for Dustin. And unfortunately, I feel like he might find that spot again. It's just such a hard matchup. If Justin lands a big head kick, or again, he's chaotic. You don't know what's coming. You know what's coming with Max. It's gonna be jab, 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 cross, 1-3-2, 1-2, 1-3-2, 3-2. Justin Gaethje's
gonna go like this, and then yeah,
exactly. It's sometimes it's harder to fight somebody that is that doesn't have as good as technique as somebody else, because someone that has good technique, you can almost anticipate or expect what's to come from a good striker. Someone like Justin Gaethje, and let me say that I'm not saying Justin Gaethje's a bad striker. He would fucking kill me. He'd knock me out. He's a fucking awesome. That's, again, I'm not saying that, but he doesn't throw always right down the pipe. He's going off angle. He's overhand left. High kicks coming, leg kicks coming.
Yeah.
Is he going to kick me in the leg? Is he going to kick me in the head? It's just a little bit more unpredictable than a solid, straight up boxing striker. So I think that's where Max Holloway could have issues.
Yeah, I think so. That's actually, how you just broke, that's exactly what I would have said the breakdown between him and Dustin Poirier is. And also the one thing that I think Max does better than Poirier is the thing that I was saying about really stretching his body out and being less, he's not in here. Dustin really fights out of like a tight position, and he's got great straight punches, but he never really extends himself, which is why he's harder to hit and to catch. You know what I mean? And Holloway is like, I'm trying to think of anybody who does that better than Holloway, and I can't think of anyone where that thing, where he's got those crazy long arms and he can make it hurt punching that last kind of foot. But the other thing too about Gaethje catching him with that head kick is he never fucking thrown it before, dude. You know,
exactly.
Like watch all the videos on earth. He's a leg kick, and then all of a sudden he threw one and it didn't land, and then the second one he hit just fucking shin to the noggin. That was a brutal fucking head kick, dude.
It was fucking awesome, man. Justin Gaethje is one of my favorites, dude. And
he's awesome. Do you know him? Do you know him personally?
I don't know. I've trained with him, but I don't know. I couldn't call him on the phone and say, but I've trained with him. Really nice guy, really great training partner, a plethora of knowledge. Hope nothing for the best for him.
Yeah, I've heard nothing but good stuff about him. Yeah, he's good people, dude. I've heard, but I want to play golf with him, actually. It's like, I think we know what's going to happen if we do any kind of combat sport. So let's fucking golf, son. Let's see what happens then. I've seen his swing. I could beat him on the golf course if I play well, for sure.
Let's go.
Yeah. But like, what else we got for 300? So like 300, I was telling you guys, I think that, and Dana basically, well, not even basically, he did just overtly say it in a clip that I saw today that they're like, so Dana, tell us about UFC 300. I feel like there's like another big shoe to drop. There's multiple big shoes to drop. So there's more coming. I mean, I think basically everybody knows Pereira's going to be on the card and Leon's going to be on the card. So you can expect Leon and Bilal, unless there's some super weird shuffle on the Leon fight. It'll be Leon and Bilal, right?
It is, but I mean, Bilal's a great fighter, and I've said this on the 10-7 1,000 times. He just doesn't do anything for me. Like, and I'm not even talking about just being. I mean, him and Colby have a similar stance. I think he's a better version of Colby, but I don't like him on the mic. I don't like in his post fight. I don't like him in the commentary booth. The guy just doesn't grab me. He's not a ticket seller, and I'll tell you this: he is very deserving of a title shot. But to have Bilal as our champion in the UFC is just going to be underwhelming, and I don't think it's going to get pay-per-view sales for business. And so I don't support it. He's more than deserving. He's very capable of being the champion. He just doesn't sell for me.
Yeah, I agree, dude. Like, I do think he's nasty, though. I think that he is, in just purely on his fighting, I think that he might be the person who takes the most shit for being boring, totally undeserving. Like, totally undeserving. Where if you actually watch his fight, you're like, what? Okay, like, yeah, I know the Gilbert Burns one he won by decision, but it's fucking Gilbert Burns, dude. Like, Gilbert Burns' arm was hurt. It's still Gilbert Burns, dude. That guy is fucking unreal. And then, and he beat the fucking shit out of Sean Brady. That was an absolute shellacking. But dude, there are just some guys that I can't even put my finger on it, because it's like, if someone was like, okay, what makes a guy interesting on the microphone? And if you try to describe it, you're like, well, you want him to be well-spoken, you want him to talk fast, you want him to get good points, maybe if they're a little bit funny, whatever. But there's also this like intangible thing that I kind of can't explain, where you can have all of those things and they still don't have that like it thing. You know what I mean? And Bilal, I just think Bilal is one of those guys. And I think Aljo might be the number one example of that, because Aljo's good looking. He's a good fighter. He's great on the mic. He like even does gimmicks and shit, but like just for some reason, it's just like not there. You know what I mean? I don't know if I'm describing that well, but
you're describing it on point. Like I said, Bilal's probably a great guy. He's an incredible fighter. Again, I mean, it sounds like I'm talking shit about these guys. I mean, Bilal whooped my ass up and down the street. Me and you could tag team. He's still with both our asses. This isn't about how good of a fighter he is. He's great.
Not if he's fucking blindfolded, son.
Yeah, if he's blindfolded, we might have a chance. But he just doesn't. I want to relate to somebody personally. Like I got into MMA because of WWE, man. Like when I was 10 years old, I thought WWE was real, and then when I got older, obviously it's not. And UFC was. I was like, oh fuck, well this is the son, like the Conor McGregor, man. He can lose 10 fights in a row, but everyone's gonna tune in to buy because everyone wants to see what he's gonna do. All everyone wants to see his antics. Bilal doesn't have any antics. He shows up, he fights, relatively. He doesn't finish fights, and I just don't like the way he talks on the mic, and he just doesn't grab me in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah. He also kind of has like he's got a problem with, what's the right way to put this? It's like a guy from Canada can be like, I'm fucking Canadian. And Bilal's, he's Muslim in America. And cause like, and I don't think there's obviously nothing wrong with that. I just mean that if you're a Muslim looking for like a Muslim fighter hero, it's like, dude, you got Hamzat, you got Islam Makhachev, you've got all of those guys from it's just like, it's almost like someone's already filled that role over there. And then it's just kind of, I don't know, it's like a weird like tweener identity. It's not his fault, it's just I think that affects kind of people's natural like way. People are stupid in how they like align with shit, and I think that hurts him also. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. I agree.
Yeah. But man, those fucking Muslim guys from Dagestan, I have so much respect for how those guys, the way that those guys handle training. There's like, again, it's actually like it's exactly like Sean Strickland. Like they don't have anything else. Like that's all they fucking do is train. Like they just train, they live it, they eat good, they don't party, they look at shit. Fucking Connor's all, here, have a drink. He's like, I don't drink. Have a drink, and you're like, I don't know, man. It's like it's such a Spartan way of living that I would have a hard time doing that. I'm my own worst enemy sometimes. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Most of us are, man. It's, honestly, I've been to the top of the mountain. I've seen it all, and at the end of the day, I still want to live life and get out. And these guys, that is living life for
Yeah.
them. Training is their life, man. And unfortunately, fortunately, I have other hobbies, that I've taken. Sometimes some of my hobbies take away from training sometimes, and maybe that's why I got cut from the UFC. But it's all
You'll
due.
get back in there, dude. How long have you lived in Vegas for?
I've been so I did my college internship 2009, 2010, or 2009, 2010, 2011. Then I graduated 2011, moved out here in 2012.
Oh, so damn, 11 years in Vegas.
Yeah.
Did living in Vegas ever I don't know, was that ever like a challenge for you to not go, I don't know, like go Vegas?
I mean, I experienced Vegas early, and also, this is this kind of is the same in relation to that. Is when I was in college, I worked in strip clubs, and I know to some people, what does that have anything to do with anything? Vegas is essentially just a big strip club. You're walking down the
Yeah.
strip, you have the prettiest women, the most attractive men, all everywhere's around. Everyone has money, throwing money around. Essentially, just a big strip club. So when I moved here, the shock factor wasn't a thing for me. I think
Yeah.
early on, I might have had an issue gambling a little bit.
Yeah.
But
That counts.
but not to the point where I had to move or leave. But there was a couple times where I was like, oh shit, like I don't know what I'm gonna do for bills this month. I mean, not in the recent hit past, but when I was 21, 22, 23 years old, it happened a couple times. With that being said, there's been a couple times where I go out and I hit a score and I can pay rent for 2 months fine. So, I don't want, I guess when you live in Vegas, you don't really go to Vegas.
Yeah, yeah,
I live
totally.
in Spring Valley. There's Henderson, there's Boulder City, there's Summerlin. People that come to Vegas stay in Vegas. That's the strip, and I'll go down there if people are in town, but if people aren't in town, I don't waste my time going down there anymore.
Yeah. I dated a cocktail girl that you remember old Dre's? Remember where Dre's
Oh
was when it
yeah.
was in the Barbary
There's a shooting
Coast?
in there. There's a shooting in there a couple of years
Wait,
back
when?
before it's over. It was
Before
when I
they
lived
moved
here.
from Barbary Coast to the new place?
Dre's is at it's off Flamingo and the Boulevard right now. It used to be
Now it
old.
is.
Yeah, now the old one. No, I don't know where the
The
old one
old
was
one
at.
that was like underground and it opened at 2 a.m. Like, so it was like it wasn't even open until
Oh
2.
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah. You walk in, you take an elevator downstairs. Yeah, there was a
downstairs.
shoot.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, there
Yeah.
was a shooting in there a while back.
Really?
Like one of the security guards got shot up. Yeah,
Huh.
that was like in 2015 or 16. I remember that because Ron Frazier, one of the coaches at Extreme Couture, was a security guard there when that happened.
Well, so way back when, dude, like in 2005, I
Okay.
dated a girl that was a Dre's cocktail waitress for like I don't know, a little bit, like as much as you could date a girl from Sacramento that lives in fucking Vegas. Like
Sure.
basically, I just hung out with her whenever I'd go to Vegas, which was often, whatever. But like you get to see the like complete other. It's like if people live and work in Vegas, there's like this whole other way, like this social thing where they part like her like party schedule was she would get off at like 7 and then we would go to like Spearmint Rhino from like 8 until 2. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And you're just
Yeah.
like, Jesus, man, this is your life. Like, yeah, just didn't last long, dude. That's not I had like a
Not
regular
sustainable
job.
for me. Not sustainable for me. I'll tell you that.
No, not even a little bit. She was really hot, but like, I don't know if you've ever dated a girl where you're like, why? Normally, if I say this to a person, they would like respond in less than 3 seconds. Like she's always thinking too much about what she's saying.
Yeah.
I'm like, God, just get some sleep. Jesus.
Yeah, that's it. Like a sleep.
Anyway, but yeah, dude, what other fights are you looking forward to this weekend?
Fuck. I mean, I'm really
Chris,
only looking.
obviously.
Chris, obviously, Sean and Chris, man,
Yeah.
and I don't know much about Chris's opponent, but again, we're taking, one of Sean's really good friends, one of his really good training partners, another guy in the gym that is just an incredible person. He's just an incredible athlete, incredible person. You can't root against the guy. I mean, the guy works his
Mm.
ass off. He's a recent dad. And that might fuel his flame, might put something out on it too. And a lot of times, the fighters have kids, they get distracted. But I tell you what, Chris, his girlfriend, his kid are in the gym every single day. The guy trains his ass off. Saw him last night. I'll see him here in a couple hours when I go back to the gym in about 30 minutes. And dude, the guy's gonna be ready to go. Oh
Wait,
wait, no, I won't see him. What am I talking about? He
I was
fights
gonna
that.
say, I was like,
No,
yeah,
I'm fucking spacing. But yeah, he's fighting this weekend. But regardless, the guy works his ass
yeah.
off just like Sean, and he's one of the best guys I could have as a teammate.
He seems like a good dude. I guess I owe you that he's not mad at me anymore. I couldn't like he's the only dude where like, or one of the only guys where I'm like, I can't accept that Chris Curtis is mad at me, dude. Like,
Yeah.
I can accept, like, I fuck with Ian Gary, he can be mad. I fuck with some other people, like, but like Chris fucking Curtis.
Yeah.
How can I be on his fucking shit list, dude? I love that guy, man.
When he said that, I was really caught off guard too, because like, how could anybody be mad at Chris Curtis? And you
Yeah.
know, he probably just it was after a performance. You probably said something he didn't like, and you
Something
know,
that was like, not because I know if I say something negative about a fight, I just assume they're gonna see it every time. And so I
Sure.
was like, dude, I can't even imagine what I could have said that would have pissed him off. But I was there. I was front row, cage side when he fought against. Well, there you go. I was front row cage side when he fought Kelvin in Miami, and that fight was so fucking sick, dude. That was one of those fights where, you know, like being that close. That's the only time I've ever been that close. Is amazing always, but there are like certain fights where being that close made a huge difference. You know, like like what's his name? Oh my god, my fucking guy that's fighting on 300. I'm sorry, that's fighting on 299 against MVP. Fucking, this is embarrassing, dude. God, this is like go get who's fighting MVP
Holland,
at 299.
Kevin Holland.
Yes. That's one of those things. People are like casual. I'm like, no, this is like go get your brain checked for dementia, not casual, dude. Like that's you think I don't know if I can Kevin Holland's name, but anyway, like he knocked that guy out there, and that was awesome. But the fight where being that close really made a difference was that fucking Gastelum and Chris Curtis, because they were, especially Chris was pulverizing Kelvin's body. It sounded so loud. You know how they have like the, you know, the microphone up top so you can really hear the, like, you know, when people slam on the, on the, you know, it sounded like someone was taking I just talked about this on the channel the other day because I remember making this exact metaphor. It was like they took a fraternity paddle to a fucking side of beef, dude. It was like slap every single time. And you're like, oh, I don't know how Kelvin ate those, dude. I really don't. Like,
I'll be honest too, because we're talking Chris Curtis is powerful, man. He is a short style. I mean, he might be an inch taller than me, you know, up a weight class or two. And this guy has huge arms, huge legs. He's a powerful traditional striker too. So to eat those body shots from for Calvin's, that's just insane, man. I couldn't imagine one of the sound walking through it.
He really is. I fist bumped him on his way out, and I was just, I'm like, fuck. He's like basically my exact height, but like, I mean, I weigh 200 right now, but he looked much bigger than me. I feel like he's fucking big, dude.
Yeah,
he's
no doubt about that.
Who else you guys got over there that's like that's fighting coming up here? And actually, let me ask you this: does Strickland spar with Francis?
No, I haven't seen Francis in the gym in a minute. He's come in not to, at least to train. Last time I heard, you know, as I said on the 10-7, that him and Eric and Dewey were sitting around, you know, trying to put together their camp, who they're going to involve for their striking aspect. Eric wants Dewey to. Dewey says he's open to it, but he knows all the other coaches as well. So that was the last I heard. I haven't seen Francis in the gym in a couple weeks, man. It's, you know, Extreme Couture is not really a boxing gym. You know, Francis needs to go to a traditional boxing gym. I'm not saying he couldn't work striking at the gym, but for traditional, we don't have a boxing ring. The angles are a little bit different, 90-degree angles compared to a bigger angle on the cage. It's just a little bit different, man. So, you know, Francis is obviously coming up, you know, with that. I think I was talking to Julian Arosa last night. Me and Julian trained yesterday. He's coming up in April. Let me think. Brad Tavares, one of, again, long time.
Dude, Tavares, I really like watching him fight. That's a guy who kicks the fuck out of people's legs.
Man, broke Chris Weidman's leg in their fight. You know, you saw Chris hobbling around. I thought he was going to finish. He even told the referees, like, what else do I need to do to get this fight stopped? You know, not deliver too much damage. But, you know, I talked to Brad after, a relatively good friend of mine, spearfishing buddy. Said he broke his leg in the gym. Dude, we just have so many guys at the gym that are so in and out. I can't keep up with it all because, you know, I'm getting ready for my own fight as well. So, you know, as of right now, I mean, if I walked into the gym like, oh, well, that guy's a fight, that guy, but just coming off the top of my head, I can't think of it right now.
Everybody's fighting. Everybody's got to fight.
Everyone's fighting. And, you know, guys are looking to fight too. If they're not scheduled, everybody's getting ready for a fight, hoping to be on the short notice list. So this year is going to be another breakout year for Extreme Couture. We have Roman Isbell with RAI Institute. It's a new sports agency, a buddy of mine running it. He has like 150 fighters. He's about to break some guys into the UFC. Trent Miller, he's 6 or 7.
150 fighters.
Yeah, 150 fighters
Damn.
under 100 to 150 under his belt. He's looking to break into the UFC, this year for his
Busy
fighters.
as fuck is what he is.
Busy, 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 man. Trent Miller, 6-0, up and coming amateur. We got Ethan Goodwin, up and or not up and coming amateur. Trent's a pro. I'm sorry. Ethan Goodwin. Man, I got a couple guys under my belt. There's just so many up and coming guys right there trying to fill roles on fights right now. It's an exciting time to be a part of Extreme Couture.
Yeah, that's awesome, dude. 150 guys, and with like the smaller shows, he must be just filling up entire cards, huh? I mean,
Yeah, I mean,
seriously,
there are times like I commentate for Fusion Fight League. If there's 12 cards on the thing, he'll have 7 guys on it.
yeah.
It's just it's pretty insane. And man, we got Amari Sangzavon, the insurance salesman. Keep an eye out for him. Sean Sugar Sean
Wait. Is that
O'Malley.
his nickname? The insurance salesman?
Yeah, dude, and he's called the insurance salesman. Is Amari Sangzavong. He sat in the commentary booth with me before. I get to commentate all his fights. The guy's 5 or 6-0 right now. Bantamweight, featherweight. He'll be in the UFC by the end of the year. There's another guy that Roman doesn't work with, but an up and coming guy for Fusion Fight League. One of Sean O'Malley's guys. I can't think of his name. He works with Tim Welch and Sean O'Malley. What is his name? I'm totally blanking on his name right now. But another guy from a regional show that I work with, Fusion Fight League, that should be in the UFC by the end of the year. We just have so much stuff going on and things coming up, man. It's gonna be exciting. 2024 is gonna be an exciting year.
Dude, it has continued to be exciting years for Extreme. You guys have had great years for I don't even know how many in a row. Because like once I started, because I started the channel, and Francis was my guy before I was even friends with Markel and Eric and all them. But like as soon, like Eric was the very first like serious guy that came on the channel, and so obviously like I was fucking anybody that was from your guys' team, I was like, let's go.
Yeah,
so I've been paying close attention to Extreme Code, all the way through. This guy, sorry, I was reading this also. I want to platform this guy. Imagine thinking Strickland is a superstar because he is some inbred twat who calls everyone weak yet cries on podcasts. Just another MAGA idiot who preaches and props up other inbreds. See, that's what you get when you come on my channel, dude. I will platform your genius takes, dude. Like you write some brilliant shit like that, I'll put it up for everybody to read. So that's what that guy thinks, you guys. An inbred idiot that MAGA something crying.
And that's fine that he feels that way, but say it to his face, bro. Like he'll stab you. He will shoot you if he says he's going to do it. He has said on many podcasts, "I will end your life and end mine at the same time. I don't give a fuck." So, I mean, if you feel that way about it, say it to him, because I would never say that to him, even if I did feel that way, which I don't.
Dude, I heard Eric tell a story about some guy who I believe had a similar role to me who talked shit. Oh, no. Maybe he talked shit on Twitter. And then he came into Extreme Couture and they were like, all right, well, you said this shit. You got to either get in the cage and sort it out or you can never come in here again. And he never came in, right? Do you know who I'm talking about?
I mean, there's been multiple videos of Chris Curtis and Sean Strickland fighting trolls and fucking them up. So I don't know if it that one in particular, but yeah, you'd be surprised, man. The things I've seen over the years, guys will come into pro practice and be like, "I'll beat everybody's ass here," and it's like, "All right, line them up," and then. I mean, they usually don't come back. One time, this is, I'll make it a quick story, but came into amateur class. I was doing something with a client, and this guy's like, "I'll beat everybody's ass here." And Dennis Davis, head coach one of the head coaches at the gym, says, "Hey, get around with this guy." I beat that guy up so bad. His mom came to the gym the next day with the police to put an assault charge on me because he said that the head coach, Dennis Davis, had the whole team jump him for initiation. That's why he was all battered and bruised.
Well, at least
And you
now
can
we
ask,
know why he came there trying to start shit. He's crazy.
he's crazy. So you can ask Eric Nixick about this because I'll never forget it. Eric will always go to bat for me. Close friend of mine, one of my coaches, one of my mentors. Guy walks into Eric's room and I'll never forget Eric's face. He's like, "We jumped you, bro. Really? You told your mom we jumped you?" And he's like, "Well, I guess it didn't really happen just like that." And she's like, "What happened? Like, I'm calling the police to get these guys in trouble and this and that." And Eric, "Really, bro? We jumped you? Come on, man." And then the guy buckled and turned out. But yeah, that happens. That happens all the time. And it's definitely not uncommon for that to happen.
I mean, I guess I've never understood that. It's like, do you really need to go into one of these gyms to find out that you're going to get your fucking ass kicked? It's like, okay, so if you wanted to learn how to play chess, would you go to this fucking former Soviet Union and be all, hey, just give me one of the top 10 guys and I'll challenge them. I'm going to fuck you up at chess. It's like, no, you're not, dude. Like, you're definitely not. You're not. And in this case, you're going to, I mean, it's not like you just lose. You're going to get your fucking ass kicked and it's going to hurt, dude. It's they're just crazy. I think that either there's a, you know, people are so used to looking at screens that there's no connection to what they're looking at in the physical world. And they actually don't understand what they're looking at, or they're just batshit, you know?
Yeah, dude, I agree with you 100%. You know, they always say the common male thinks he's 2,000% more effective in a fight than he really is, and I firmly believe that, man. And until you really get punched in the face by someone that really knows how to punch, you don't know anything. You don't know shit about fighting.
Yeah, I tell people that all the time about like I've won 4 street fight thing. You could tell how experienced a guy is just based on how they talk about fighting in general. And it's like the more confident a person talks about beating up strangers, the more likely they have no experience, because you're like, dude, it'll take you one day to gym to know that you're for sure not the toughest guy at this gym. The day it doesn't matter who you are, someone's gonna fuck you up. So like, just stop it. Like, just you sound like a rook, dude. You sound like a fucking rook.
Hey, I see a comment you have on about Mark Madsen and Martin Kampmann, man. Unfortunately, Martin moved back to Denmark a couple of years ago. He wanted his kids raised in Denmark. He didn't want his kids raised in Las Vegas. Martin Kampmann is a true, genuine good friend of mine. I used to babysit his kids when him and Pernille, his wife, would go out of town. Mark Madsen always comes to Extreme Couture when he's getting ready for. We're talking about an Olympic quality wrestler, man. Mark Madsen is the fucking man. Martin Kampmann, one of my favorite fighters of all time, one of the best guys I've ever met at Extreme Couture. He actually flew out to Michigan with me. We shot a deer. He shot a deer. And on
was
my
it
property.
That deer that's behind you?
No, this deer was shot in Las Vegas, actually, here in Nevada.
Nice.
But no, Martin Kampmann shot an 8-point buck at my parents' house, cornered me. So me and Martin are super close. Mark, again, incredible fighter, incredible wrestler, and he's only getting better in the striking department. So yeah, they still have deep ties, and they still train Extreme Couture when they're in the U.S.
Who's the most nasty grappler that has come to, like, out of everybody? Like, I know Hamzat's been there.
Jake
Who
Shields.
is? Jake Shields.
Yeah. Jake Shields for MMA grappling is, I mean, it's fucking insane. Like, I think I'm a good grappler. I've been grappling for 20 years. I'm a collegiate wrestler. When I roll with Jake, it's like me rolling with my 15-year-old son. Like, he just does whatever he wants, man. And it's just so impressive because, again, back to like we were talking about Strickland on his basics. Dude, I know what he's going to do. If I shoot a double leg, he's going to guillotine me. Then I'm going to roll to my back, and he's going to go to mount. Then he's going to hold me in mount, suffocate me for 30 seconds, and he's going to look for an arm triangle. Once he can't get the arm triangle, he's going to transition to a Kimura. If he can't get the Kimura, he's going to transition to arm bar, and then I'm going to tap to one of them or eventually. And then it's like, all right, motherfucker, that's not going to happen again. And then he'll do the exact same thing over and over. And I think that's one thing. It's, you know, we got another guy named Andy Valal. I'm pronouncing his name. I'm butchering his name wrong. He's a 10th Planet guy, Andy Valal or something like that, and he used to be an MMA fighter. He's a professional grappler now, a 10th Planet guy, super, super tough dude. I've never seen Jake Shields get tapped. And I'm not saying he hasn't. I just have never seen it. And to me, Jake Shields is the best MMA grappler of all time.
Dude, I was so pissed. Like, I think like maybe like 6-ish months ago or so, I was in California in the Bay Area for an event that we were doing, like, with my family. And we were at Cesar Gracie's gym before, like, when we were in California or whatever. And I was coming back, and I trained nothing but jiu-jitsu for fucking 2.5 years since I was there. And so I was all hyped. I'm like, I'm going to go on Saturday. I'm going to fucking roll with these guys, show up, you know, whatever. And something happened to where we thought that, I know exactly what it was. Roger Gracie was supposed to be there, and it got canceled. So, like, Roger Gracie was supposed to be there, and I'm like, oh, it's canceled. All right, too bad. Well, I'll just come to open mat afterwards and do that or whatever. So I ended up going after, and no one, I didn't know that, like, since Roger had canceled, they did an entire seminar with fucking Jake Shields and Gilbert Melendez. So as I was walking in, the thing was fucking ending. I was like, oh, dude.
Yeah.
So I just completely missed it. I was super pissed, but I was watching him, you know, coach a bunch of other people. And yeah, I mean, I watch his fucking YouTube videos for details on stuff. I'm like, you know, he, like, one thing he did on an arm triangle, I use anytime I get anybody there now. He's a
It
stud, dude.
really helped my game out. Prior to working with Jake, I worked with him for about a year straight. I hated going to mountain. I fucking hated it because I get to high mountain, guys start bucking, you lose balance. Me being short and stocky, like I don't have a wide base. They'd
Yeah.
always get out, but I worked with Jake for, like I said, for a year. Once I get to mountain, the round's over. And it's
Oh
all
yeah.
just Jake Shields. Absolutely. I feel my half guard game and my mount game has become world class because of Jake Shields personally.
That's awesome, dude. I'm sure you wish to say, I wish that I had long limbs because jujitsu looks so fun for tall, lanky fucking
Yeah,
guys,
right.
dude. But like, I can't do, I love body triangling people, but I can't body triangle people my own size. I can't do it. And it's just infuriating where it's like, I have to pick on smaller guys if I'm going to fucking lock body triangles on them and work from there. But
can't do body triangles, can't do triangles. It's all that shit. I mean,
yeah,
my repertoire is a guillotine, a side choke, and an armbar, and I got a couple little tricks in there, but those are my three primaries.
yeah, Kimura, I trap Kimuras a lot, but like, but yeah, I can't, guillotine is even hard for me because I have my shoulder mobility is fucking garbage, dude. It's like, I'm sorry, rear naked choke is hard. I mean, I can do a rear naked choke, but it's like it's not as good as it could be because I'm working with a chiropractor on it. My shoulder mobility is fucking garbage. But I get a triangle on people every once in a while. I could get a triangle on a big guy, but I have to it has to be like perfect,
Sure.
And if they can feel that I'm trying to get it, then I'm fucked. I have to completely catch them off guard. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Yeah. So question for the guest: how often does Strickland spar multiple people at once?
I saw those videos of him doing that. That's not something he does on the regular. I don't think he would do it if he was getting ready for a fight. I think Sean Strickland's just a fucking goofy guy that's like, fuck it, I'll take on 3 guys at once and see what happens. I've only seen it live once, very briefly, and I've seen a couple videos of it, but I think it's more just for fun, and he doesn't do it all the time or anything. It's not something he does. All right, on Wednesday I'm going to spar 4 guys. I think it's just something that he does for fun, occasionally for cameras.
I bet you he'd do it every time someone asked him to do it, though.
You know what? I agree with you. So I'm going to restate what he would do it if people asked him to. But if you can get 3 of your friends together, go fight Sean Strickland. You let me know because I'm not going to be one of them.
Fuck that shit. What do you think about, speaking of multiple people fighting one person, what did you think about that conversation that Bisping and Anthony had about how many Jim Millers does it take to beat Brock Lesnar?
Oh, I don't think it would take many. I mean,
Neither do I. I do.
I mean, Brock Lesnar, I think, is one of the most overrated hype trains in MMA history. I mean, he's an incredible collegiate wrestler, but I mean, I don't think he was a great MMA fighter by any means. I mean, he was good. I mean, just because he's so athletic and strong, but from a
And
technical
300
standpoint,
fucking pounds.
and 300 pounds, of juice. It's I'm not going to take away, because people, oh, he's a professional wrestler. It's like, hey, before that, he was an NCAA wrestler. He was a professional football player. I think he played on the Vikings. So we're talking about a super athlete. But from a technical standpoint, he never impressed me with any technique. So
Yeah.
I mean, I'll be honest, if Jim Miller and him grappled, started on the ground, or they started in wrestling and grapple, I mean, I could see Jim catching a submission, catching a guillotine on Brock, shooting through, maybe a leg lock like Frank Mir did early on. I think 1, Jim Miller might be able to take him, but 2 for sure.
Dude, a fucking leg lock though, like think of the size of his fucking legs, dude. Like, you know what I mean? Like if he's gonna get it could like it's just Jim Miller. If he's got like a heel hook position, does his leg even get up to Brock's, like, you know what I mean? Like I feel like it would be like halfway up his thigh. You know what I mean?
I agree with you. Brock got on top, obviously. He'd put his weight on him and smother him a little bit, but
Yeah,
Jim's not a dead dog in that situation.
he's nasty.
I mean, he's fucking nasty. I mean, he's been UFC 100, UFC 200. He's about to be in UFC 300. Like, this is a legend of the sport, guy that I look up to, man. Hopefully one day I can get back to the UFC and have an honor of fighting someone like him. But I mean, 2 Jim Millers for sure would handle Brock Lesnar. And you know what? On the right day, maybe one can catch him in a submission too.
Dude, I totally agree. And I also just want to say that Jim Miller cracking the top 15 is so gangster. Like,
did he just crack the top 15? Gangster. Is he top 15?
I think he's top 15 now, dude. And
wow,
let me double check.
It.
I know. And like
Gabriel Benitez, who I fought in the UFC, man, super tough striker. Takes him down, takes his back, chokes him out, man. Benitez is tough, man. His striking is very, very tough. So for Jim Miller to do that at the age he's doing is just fucking phenomenal.
I could have swore someone said that he made top 15, but apparently not. But Oh, he's fighting Bobby Green, who's 14.
Wow.
So if he wins, he'll crack top 15.
It's a winnable fight, man. It's a winnable fight for
Totally.
Miller. Bobby Green is a very good striker, but Jim is really, really good fighter. So
He's because like the way that Bobby Green gets guys is he hurts them, like
yeah,
he hurts them and then pounces. Like that's one of the things when I was watching that fight with Jim Miller, the last one last weekend or whatever, is like he just looks like a grizzled motherfucker that you're not gonna hurt. And even if it does hurt, he's learned how to just bury that pain and not even react to it.
yeah,
He's scary, dude.
He is one amongst few that can compete at that level for that long. I mean, I can't think of many more other people. I mean, that's 200 UFC events, that he's about to be a part of, 100 to 300. Like to have that kind of longevity, he's had like how many fights in the UFC? Has he had like 40?
That's what I was just
Something.
looking up. He's okay, so he's 40, and his first UFC fight was in 2008, dude.
I was a freshman in college, man.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I mean, listen to some of these names, dude. Okay, listen to some of these names. So UFC, we got Matt Wyman, Gray Maynard, Mac Danzig, Dwayne Ludwig, Gleason Tabau. He fucking beat Charles Oliveira in 2010. Benson Henderson, Melvin Gillard, Nate Diaz in 2012, Joe Lozon 2012, Pat Healy. I mean, these are like Donald Cerrone, Beneil Dariush. The only reason and he beat Dariush and he beat Donald Cerrone in 2014.
That's their prime, man.
That's an early prime Donald Cerrone, Michael Chiesa, Diego Sanchez 2016, Takanori Gomi, Joe Lozon, Thiago Alves, Dustin Poirier. These are losses, but Dustin Poirier, Anthony Pettis, Dan Hooker, Charles Oliveira again. This is insane. Clay Guida. This dude has fought every fucking person in the history of this fucking sport at lightweight, dude. That is insane. That is so impressive.
It really is, man. And I wish nothing for the best of him. I hope he goes out. It'd be really cool to see him get a win at 300 and retire. Because unfortunately, I feel not enough fighters retire soon enough. They end up going out on their shield and getting really fucked up. I mean, he's 40 years old. He's accomplished everything. He's going to be on the main event for UFC 300, whether it's the main card or the featured prelim. Dude, I think he has nothing more to prove to anybody else or himself. And I just would love to see him go out with a big win here in 300 and call it a day.
Dude, he's 5-1 in his last 6, all finishes except for the one that he lost was a decision.
Oh my gosh! Think
about that.
Go for a fucking title run at 40 years old. That the toughest division in the UFC.
And okay, so check this out. Going back to 2020, actually, I take that back. Let's go back to 2019, which is okay. So the last time he got finished was he got submitted by Charles Oliveira. All right. So I'm going to stop right. Like that's going to be kind of our starting point. He goes 2018. He gets a first round submission on Alex White. Then he loses to Charles Oliveira by submission. Then he goes submission finish, win, first round. Clay Guida, submission, win, first round. Then he loses a decision. Then he submits by armbar in the first round. Then he loses a decision, loses another decision. Then he starts on that run. He goes second round knockout, second round submission, loses a decision, then wins by first round knockout, and then wins by third round face crank submission. That's fucking bananas, dude.
There's nothing more impressive than Jim Miller right now.
That's crazy, dude. Well, I think that's probably enough, dude. Over an hour, and I feel like I'm asking people to watch something that's too long, but this was excellent. We should do this again, dude. What do you got going on this weekend?
Hit me up, and I'm ready to go.
Let's do it, man. You doing anything fun this weekend? You gonna go shoot any deer?
Nah, not this weekend. What am I doing this weekend? I got a dog sit this weekend. I'll probably play some poker. Hey, let's talk about the Lions, the Detroit Lions, baby. Let's go.
Yeah.
First, see, everybody's an MMA fan. My whole life is MMA. Once I'm off here, I got to go watch people fight. Tomorrow, I got to go watch people fight. Yeah. Me, Detroit Lions, football is my sport. Let's go.
Yeah. That's exciting, dude. There's nothing more exciting. I mean, honestly, the fact that was my reaction to the NFL is very telling because I am a lifelong 49ers fan. It's just that my friend coaches the fucking Dolphins. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't like, it's weird. If you thought that there was, I always wondered if there was a way where I could love two teams and I moved to San Diego. I'm like, maybe I can love the Chargers, even though I'm a Niner fan. I could just never get myself to do it. If there was ever a scenario where you could love two teams, it's the fucking AFC East, where your friend is the head coach and then still your team forever. Like, you can't be more far apart from each other. And as soon as he became the coach of the Dolphins, it's like someone turned off a fucking switch that had been on my entire life for the Niners. I don't care. Like, I don't care. It's like they just, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm excited. I mean, I would rather the Niners win than anyone else, but I only have room in my heart for one team, dude. It's really fucking weird.
Hey, trust me, I've been a diehard Lions fan my whole life. I'll always continue to be. It's amazing how many bandwagon Lions fans there are now. But at the end of the day, dude, loyalty sticks, man. And so I totally understand what you're saying.
Dude, you remember when Harbaugh fucking slapped your dude on the back after we beat you guys when both teams were undefeated?
Gosh. I'm trying to think what his name is. It was Harbaugh, and he slapped fuck. Oh, I remember it so well.
Spaz, dude.
He chased after him. Yeah, I remember that.
I was in Vegas for that fight with my friends, and we watched, and like we were going nuts in the sports book, and then Harbaugh went and slapped his back. I think that was that 2012?
It was a long time ago, man. That coach is a defensive coach somewhere now. I can't remember exactly where though.
Because it was a big deal that we were both still undefeated then. I think we were both 5-0, if I remember correctly. Or we were both, it was either we were both 4-0 and put us 5-0, or we were both 5-0, but it was like, that was a big game, dude.
Yeah, that was a fun one.
Anyway, well, good luck to the fucking Lions, dude. We'll fucking talk this weekend as hopefully we watch Sean Strickland win this fight. But honestly, even if he lost, he's coming out ahead either way. He is a superstar, man.
I agree with you.
All right, brother. Chat soon.
We'll see you later, buddy.
Later, bud.